Ohio gozaimasu, and welcome to the Isekai Podcast. I'm Nico,
I'm Ollie.
and we're going to tell you about the Isekai life. I know we've dragged you guys from 9 to 5 to get reincarnated to this podcast here today, but today we're going to be living life. We're going to be talking about animes as usual. We're going to do ranking systems. I'm here with Ollie. He's a renewed noob. Tell me about your anime experience so far.
Well, yeah, like you said, I'm a renewed noob. I liked anime a lot. My first introduction to the anime world was when I was a little kid. I don't know if you would consider this anime because you're like a professional,
Right.
but Pokemon was one of the first animes I ever watched. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a little older and watched some other animes, but I never really incarnated into the world of anime, so to speak.
True.
So I'm here with you. Hopefully you can educate me and guide me in my trip in the anime world, my journey.
I hope I can. I hope I could be the sensei you never had. We're going to talk about an isekai. An isekai today is
Right, what exactly is an isekai? Like, I have a pretty good idea.
So an isekai, the genre, isekai translates straight to otherworld. So the genre of an isekai is a type of anime that brings one person from their world to another world in such a way that they are familiar with. Let's bring
So
up
a lot like what we're doing here on this podcast.
Yes.
Bringing people into the anime world.
Mm-hmm. I want you guys, the viewers, to see what the anime is like. I want you to get the most of it, the most honest reviews too. I don't like to bullshit, and like, we're gonna tell you how it is. I was like, if someone's got some big titties, we're gonna tell you they got some big titties. That's just how it goes. We're gonna talk about all the best fan service here, and then we're also gonna talk about all the crazy shit that you're gonna find out. It's not all about action, love, and having fun. There's some animes out there just pure horror. They're crazy. But the isekai, it's a subgenre of fantasy in which a character is suddenly transported into their world, from their world into a new or familiar world. Our most common ones that we got, most known one is Sword Art Online. That right there is probably the most common isekai. Sword Art Online is all about these guys launching into a video game with their VR headset, pretty much.
So the VR world is the other world that they're going into.
Right, that's their other world. Technically, Sword Art Online is, first off, a good recommendation that I'm giving to you and the viewers, of course. We're going to start off with the most mainstream and basic shows to get everyone familiar with the direction of where we're going. And then, like, I wanted to explain to you on Sword Art's its theme here. Like, I watched the entire thing. I watched the first, second, third season. I've watched only one movie, I believe. I think there's two. It's all about the main character. His name's Kirito. It's set in the year 2022, which is this year.
This year, yeah.
This is the same.
We're in the future.
Yeah, we're here. And it's pretty realistic to a degree. I mean, they put this nerve gear technology on to bring them into this game as a full dive syndicate. Because right now we got the VR Quest. That's what I have. VR Quest 2. It's a nice game for VR, and it dives you into the game with a lot of realistic aspects. But when it comes to this game, puts you to sleep and then messes with your mind, and it's a very in-depth game. So they're stuck in there.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. He can't take the helmet off from his current body because he's stuck in a like a coma stasis.
And what's their game? It's called Nerve Gear, you say?
So the Nerve Gear is their Oculus, and the game's called Sword Art Online. So it's all about an MMO, a VR MMO, and they're all got their sword skills and their basic like.
So it's like World of Warcraft.
I believe so. I never played that game, so I can't really say for it. What game have I played? Oh, just something generic. An MMO, yeah, just an MMO. They're all the same.
It's like a Skyrim kind of.
A type of game where there's different classes that you could pick and go down specific routes, and then a VR MMO is a virtual reality, massive multiplayer online game.
Okay.
That's the MMORPG.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because if they're plugging in like the Matrix, they're in a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And they start from ground one. They all understand that they have levels. They have a HUD that's relevant to them. The main character here, his name's Kirito. He's actually, he beta tested the game. He beta tested the game before release, so he has a well-rounded knowledge of the entire game before everything went sideways.
But he's the main character?
Yes.
Okay.
So the main character is Kirito. He gets some other main characters
Does
on
he
the
get
side.
stuck in the world or something?
Everyone does.
Oh, everyone does.
So
okay.
they give you a number. I think it's 10,000 people were allowed to sign in at one time, and that was the beginning sign in, and everyone did it. And there was all this crazy stuff. And as soon as everyone signed in, nobody can log out from that point, and they started dying without knowledge from that point. And that's the craziest part, because then the dude, like the main protagonist, or the antagonist, the villain, he comes and teleports everyone to the main room and starts telling them about the stuff. And then as they're telling him about it, he already notes that people already died and can't got back. I was like, how is this dude gonna like tell you how the game works and like people already dead?
And is he in the virtual world when he's telling them this?
Technically, with you don't have that type of knowledge yet until later in the anime. I'm not trying to spoil anything too crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely one I gotta watch. I think Netflix has it, so I might have to log in and check it out.
Yeah, I mean it's most known on all platforms. You die in the game, you die in real life. Super simple. So they have to go through a level of 0 to 100, and there's a floor boss at each level, and they have to go from all the way up. So they spend a good portion of time.
They beat the game.
They beat the game.
Okay.
And you'll watch a lot of it, and it's a really good show. There's a bunch of time skips, and the main character is badass. He pulls out some badass things, but he's not like OP. He's not that type of person to be like, oh, I know I'm the best, so I'm just gonna walk around like I am. You know, he's humble. He's humble. He's been through his experiences. He knows pain.
And that's the main character, you say?
Yes, the main character, Kirito.
That's what you want out of a main character.
That's what you want. You want him to be a little humble. I've been through the genres where the character is like super OP.
When you say OP?
OP, overpowered.
Oh, okay.
My bad. Not even a lot of people would know that at home too. When a character's OP, they're overpowered. They kind of walk around with no care in the world. It takes that like feeling of a thriller gone, cause it's almost a comedy in that way. Because the guy's
like the God mode cheat code.
Yeah, and then being that like basic about it makes it feel less important. Like I'm not gonna like feel my heartstrings getting pulled because he's like about to die. I was like, he's never gonna die. He's so overpowered that I know he's not gonna die.
Okay.
That's another type of things inside the Isekai podcast. This is the most known Isekai, but if we go into some other ones that we have here, ReZero is about. So every time he dies, he restarts the day, and it's kind of crazy because for where they're at, you wouldn't expect him to keep dying every time. And then he repeats the first day like a couple times, and then you'd expect, like, you're the main character, like if you had that same mentality, if you knew exactly what happened the last day, you'd be pretty smart about it. This one,
is there some comedy to it? Like, because I feel like it'd be pretty funny too. Like,
yeah,
the main character being like, what? Like,
well,
why is this happening again?
Well, it is an isekai. So we got here, this is Subaru Natsuki. He is Japanese normal person living on the road, and how it becomes an isekai is that he has to leave that world. You know how people leave that world? You know how people leave this world? They die. This dude's living his normal life and got teleported to the world. Tries to act like a main character. He has the isekai mentality. That's the thing here. He goes in and he's like doing like weird, like cringy shit. He's like incantations and movements trying to be the main character. He says it himself that he's like, oh, I'm in the isekai world. I'm the new main character. And like there was this kid about to get hurt by like a carriage, and he like does some like some kami thing from Goku, and it doesn't save him because he doesn't have the main character powers.
Right, and that's the essence of an isekai, is you're aware of the fact that you're in another world.
Yeah.
With knowledge of the previous world in which you came from. And
for his instance, he instantly looks and he sees this girl right here. This is the main character, or the other main character. Amelia, I'm pretty sure that's her name. He just has the knowledge that he's in the isekai world, so he's trying to go off the most common things. He's gonna go off having basic standard main OP powers. Found out he didn't. He goes and meets this girl off the rip and tries to help her, and then she turns him down instantly. The first time, obviously. and he has that mentality that he thinks he knows what's going on, and he tries to follow this main character vibe, but he can't. And he's not keeping up with a lot of things. And first couple episodes are pretty crazy because he just starts dying, and then
he's got to learn to navigate the day.
Yeah, and he learns to navigate the day. I'm pretty sure the first day is only like 3 days long. if you catch my drift. So you want to see this preview? Minute 40. I'll throw this up on the screen right now for the editing, if I can.
I like the music already. Almost has like an Exorcist theme.
Yeah, we do have to keep it quiet for the noise suppression. So it's nice to have, like, they can't hear that. You know what I mean? I never actually watched the preview, now that I think about it. Because I just watched.
The music's really good.
I mean, the animation quality is already good. Is there a full screen?
Yeah, that is pretty good animation.
Oh, man. Sorry, I gotta go to YouTube. I'm on HD right now. Still 30 minutes in, it's still talking.
I feel like I'm going through the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel. Life in a different world from zero.
Yeah. He's in a tracksuit. He's in his normal modern day clothes still.
Yeah.
And that's all he's got with him.
He's there in a whole new fantasy realm.
Yep.
I love that piano, dude.
I should watch the show, trust me. I mean, that didn't show as much as I. Oh no, don't. The portal, like, it felt like you were going through the portal. Like,
honestly, the music alone, made my curiosity go wild.
Yeah, it's
there's something just like sort of like mystical about it almost.
It's a good show. I mean, so far the popularity is at number 22. We're on my anime list right now. So it's obviously got to be good.
What would you rank this?
So if we're going through, let's go through the tiers. We got S through D. So let me
D's being the lowest
D
rank.
being like trash, like absolute bad. Like you probably wouldn't want to recommend it.
Okay.
C is average. It's a good show. You probably just don't even want to talk about it, but it's still like
not very good. Subpar.
B is like good. I say B would be like more popular too.
Okay.
So obviously that would change for like underrated animes, and then A is amazing. I'm gonna recommend this to someone. I'm gonna talk about it on a daily basis, and S is just perfect. God tier, to your opinion, obviously. S tier for me. Let's give one example right now, and it's already controversial. It's Danmachi. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? That's S tier for me.
That's S tier for me too. That's a great anime.
So now if we're talking,
for the record, no, it's not wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon.
Correct. We're always gonna pick up the girls in the dungeon. But for ReZero,
in a lot of ways, it's preferred.
ReZero, I'm giving ReZero an A for me. I'm gonna tell people about this show all the time. It runs in a good way how I like it. I mean, I'm giving my review after I've already watched the first season. Like, he has the same mentality I would if I got into the new world. I can relate to him. I'd pull up to the new world. I'd find the cutest chick I find. I'm like, she has to be my wife. I'd be like, that's part of the thing. I'm the main character. That's how he feels. He feels like that for the first 15 minutes of the first episode. He's gonna constantly think he's the main character. So when anything has attention drawn to it, he tries to take advantage of it because he thinks he's the main character. Like helping the little kid. Like when I saw him pull up and he was like, I'm gonna use my powers to go save him, and then does nothing, and he just sits there like in the middle of the crowd in some dumb cringy pose, and it's funny as fuck, and everyone just looks at him like, bro, what are you doing?
So you rank that an A, Where do these rankings come from? Like, why is it S, A, B, C, D? I mean, it's,
I think that's just like the normal anime ranking system for a lot of shows.
is this like an official ranking system, or is
No.
this is just like fan
I think it's
rankings?
I think it's a fan ranking system. Tokyo Ghoul is another good anime, and they use that to rank their people on rarity.
That seems appropriate that they're using video games, because there's a lot of video game references.
Yeah.
In like, you know, like they're leveling up, or in Sword Art Online they have to, or the whole thing is a video game.
Yeah.
And they have to get to level 100. You know.
Yeah.
In Danmachi, you know, they have like things on their back that suggests what a good player they are in the dungeon.
Yeah, but that's the difference between Isekai right there, and Danmachi is just a fantasy world because that's natural to them.
Right. I was just making the comparison between animes and video games and how they sort of intersect in a lot of ways.
There's a lot. If you're playing like
In talking about the rankings.
if I'm talking about like that game where you're like playing with your foot, and the closer you get to being perfect gets you a higher score on the thing.
And that would be an S.
So like if you got a perfect, that's an S. Like if you played through it and your first time you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get like a D or a C or a B.
Danmachi gets an S, and ReZero it's like, oh, you missed a little bit of a step, but still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, they have it in Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail has their guild system ranked D through S, I believe, and then when you get to S, you're in a whole different like category.
And Fairy Tail's an anime.
Yeah, Fairy Tail is another anime. 320 episodes, maybe
is
confirmed.
Is that an isekai, or is it?
It's a fantasy type.
It's not an
isekai. They just live it. That's the main character right there. It's Natsu. I wish I got a better picture of him. My fuzzy dice are holding him up, and this is the main chick right here, Lucy Harphelia.
Oh yeah, she's dressed very well.
So yes, there is another ranking system. What else did I watch it in? Yeah, like I said, it was Tokyo Ghoul and Fairy Tail both have those ranking systems for power level. And if someone's, if I'm A, you can't fight a S. If you're B, you can't fight an A. You know, like that's the gap. It has such a fat gap to like show power level. And then when you're doing like dungeons and quests and whatnot, you get lower rank ones. They do in Naruto too. Not the people don't get judged as S rank or A rank ninjas. They just take those types of missions. It's like a
right.
It shows a level.
An A ninja takes an A mission.
Yeah, no, vice versa, because Naruto doesn't point it out.
In Danmachi.
Yeah,
like he was like a beginner, and he went and all of a sudden faced a minotaur, and he had to be rescued by the sword princess.
Yeah,
that's how the whole thing starts.
Yeah, he right there is a D tier player. He's a newbie. He just started off. He's fresh. He just got with Estia, and then he pulls up to the dungeon. He's clearing the first like 2 or 3 levels by himself, soloing it, and then he's doing his most. But then he sees one monster that's like a floor or 2 higher, and then he can't do it, and he could have died right then and there. And that's that gap level. And even the Minotaur is super weak compared to, you know, the Sword Princess, and then vice versa. That's
right.
So
yeah, like that one guy, Freya's boy.
Yeah,
he was just toying with the Minotaur. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was level 5 at that time. He was just chilling, playing with the Minotaur, getting him ready. So like I said, I classify ReZero as an A tier anime, and I would recommend it to my friends because of the fantasy type aspect and the plot twist. He can't tell anyone that he's restarting his day. Every time he tries and say something, so like he'll have this curse on him, so every time he brings it up to somebody, something would like hold his heart from the inside and tell him to stop. So then the person sitting there would be like, what do you have to say, you know?
Yeah.
He'd be like,
gotta go.
He's like, I literally died yesterday and I came back to, and then the fucking like purple heart animation like just fucking like grips his heart, and it's juicy because he got brought to that world by a witch, which is the most powerful being in this show. And there's a couple witches, and there's so many great plot twists. And there's a couple things you know how he restarts the day off death. There's people that have this knowledge of him, you know, like normal people. They're like, why does this guy keep doing everything perfectly how I say it, you know? This is suspicious. And some people will understand his power without either one of them telling. Because, like, you sit there and be like, I've done exactly everything I've done to stop you. And then he restarts the day and does it perfectly. restarts the day and does it perfectly, and then gives it perfectly to him. And then this person's questioning why this random person out of nowhere with these foreign clothes and this cell phone device that isn't even developed.
So as a renewed noob who is fascinated by Isekai, Sword Art Online and ReZero are a couple of animes I should check out.
Yes.
All right.
That's the Isekai culture, is being in another world and having all these things going through your mind off day one. It's always a restart in some way. Like, everyone starts at level 0 in these Isekai worlds. Like, this slime got brought over, level 0, has all these attributes and like works his way up. But like Sword Art Online, he starts as level 1. What else do I have? ReZero, he literally has nothing. He doesn't have any magical powers, and he's going throughout the day. He just knows it resets, so he has to weave his way in there. The main isekais, I mean, for future episodes, we're gonna be talking about Demon Slayer. That's another anime you've watched. We'll probably do that next week. But Demon Slayer so far has been pretty good to you.
I like it. Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I think there's a lot of that's more of a I guess serious would be like a serious anime is kind of a bad way to describe it, but it's more of like where you talk about fan service,
right?
And how there's the jiggly girls and the
there's not that much. There's just pure action.
Yeah, so this would be fan service in the sense that there's a lot of action, but there's a lot of like somber references, Japanese samurai Bushido type theme
and characteristics,
right? I mean, down to the samurai sword, how they train,
their clothing style,
yeah. And then the fact that they're slaying demons, that, and all these demons, they rank in power. Like, some demons aren't too bad, you can handle them. Other demons, it's like, holy crap, I gotta exercise myself from this quick. Tanjiro, right, the main character, Tanjiro, it's like, he's like, you're a demon and I'm going to slay you. But then once he does find that little string and he slays the demon, it's like he understands the way in which this person succumbed to the demonic entity which took over its life, and that was one of the things that stood out, because it's like a lot of people are battling their own demons, pick one in our society, and some people, they can slay that demon, and other people, they get succumbed to it. And Tanjiro, he's not like rubbing it in the demon's face, and that might make it worse.
Yeah, never.
But he's like, oh my god, your brother died, and you were raped senselessly, and
you got to this point, and it's not your fault.
Yeah, it's like you got to this point, and then you found other demons and then you had to get revenge on the world because you were attacked.
And it's true, because like every single demon is turned into by this one person, so it's all technically his fault.
Yeah, Michael Jackson guy, right?
Yeah, Michael Jackson. We call him Muzin. Muzin. I think it's Muzin. Go down to his name. Picture. Of course, he's not like
more characters on the right.
Oh, more character, more stuff. Oh, this shows everyone. I mean, I just skip him. Other spider. Oh Lord, how long is this scroll bar? Oh, there he is, Michael Jackson. Yeah, Kibutsuji Muzin Kibutsuji.
Yeah, he's like the devil demon. He's like,
and look at him, bro. That's Michael Jackson.
With the hat and everything.
Dude, I mean, looks fresh. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm obviously he's the demon king and everything, but he's got some drip. Give him that.
Yeah, he's got style, and he's a smart demon.
Obviously,
because he hangs out in a place where everyone thinks that the demons don't exist, and of course, the devil's greatest trick is convincing the world he didn't exist. And he's got like a wife and kids that he like loves dearly, and it's like where did this guy come from? Like, so then it's almost like, you want to know, like, okay, Tanjiro has all this respect for these other demons, once he slays them.
Right.
Like, where did this demon come from? Did he straight come from hell itself, or is he Satan? Like,
we saw a dude slit some dude's neck right in the middle of the plaza. to make a getaway with his family of 2, which are probably already dead. They probably died that same night.
Yeah,
that poor family is already like, oh my god, you saved us.
Don't underestimate the devil,
Dead.
you know?
Yeah.
That's probably another hidden theme people maybe don't see in Demon Slayer. Don't underestimate your demons. Don't take
Always.
Yeah.
Always, guaranteed. Demon Slayer's a good show.
Great show.
Love that place. So far you just watched the first season and an
First season, a
episode.
little bit of that movie, the first episode of the movie.
What do you rate it right now?
I would definitely give it a solid A. A bold-faced A. Maybe not quite an S, because
we could do plus and minus too.
Like Don Machi is like my archetype S. Like that's, but again, I haven't watched that many animes as you. So maybe there's another S that's even better than Don Machi I haven't seen yet.
Right.
But like if we're talking like the greatest thing in my mind is Don Machi, Demon Slayer is like probably one step below that. It's definitely a bold-faced
So
A.
if we do plus and minus, it'd be an S minus or an A plus?
An A plus.
Okay. Understood. Danmachi for me is an S plus. I've watched a lot of animes, and obviously, like, the fan service is crazy in Danmachi, and it's not even that bad. It's great. Like, and that's why, and like Danmachi's got such fire women. It's got fire magic.
Oh yeah, they definitely got fire women.
It's not an isekai. He doesn't have this other mentality. He has his mentality that he grew up with. He's super innocent, but he's got a good motive. He's got a great motive. He's just doing it for the women. That's literally it.
You're talking about Bell, right?
Yeah, Bell's doing it for the women in Danmachi, and I feel that
is sort of. But he's like chivalrous.
Yeah,
he's chivalrous about it.
Right.
And that's kind of a theme we're missing in the society today, I would imagine.
Right.
Actually, I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Jones can be like that too. Jones can have a lot of fan service, like Fairy Tail.
And explain exactly what shonen is again. You told me, but
So shonen is say a genre of Japanese comics and animated films aimed primarily at a young male audience, typically characterized by action-filled plots.
All right, Sensei.
Let's
close out the first one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming to the podcast. Sayonara.
Sayonara.
And we'll see you next time.